Good morning, Honourable Senators, Mr. Chair. Thank you for inviting me to address you today. I must confess that I feel a certain sense of déjà vu in my appearance today, and I don't blame you for feeling the same way. In fact, it was only 3 months ago that Parliament passed Bill C-19, a bill simply titled Ending the Long Gun Registry Act. As it turns out, there was little that was simple, either in the implementation or the interpretation of that act. On April 10th, 2012, 5 days after Bill C-19 received royal assent, firearms businesses received a memorandum from Ontario's Chief Firearms Officer. I received copies of this letter from several sources, including numerous business owners seeking legal advice. I have provided the clerk of the committee with a copy for your review. In this letter, the CFO, Ontario Provincial Police Superintendent Chris Wyatt, informed businesses that despite the passage of Bill C-19, his office would require businesses to maintain a government-issued ledger containing all information about the transfer of non-restricted long guns, including make, model, serial number, and the purchaser's personal information and firearms license number. These ledgers, Wyatt explained, would remain the property of the CFO and must be made available for inspection without warrant at any time. Failure to maintain the ledgers would result in the suspension or revocation of a business's CFO-issued firearms license. The CFO stated that in his view, quote, the Chief Firearms Officer is taking the interpretation that a record of registration is the registration certificate number or firearms identification number only, close quote. In other words, Superintendent Wyatt believes that Bill C-19 does not prevent his office, a federal creation of the Firearms Act, from maintaining a paper registry of firearms, as long as there is no, quote, registration certificate number included in this database. This announcement, coordinated with similar advisories by CFOs across the country, sparked an uproar among gun advocacy organizations, firearms businesses, hunters, target shooters, and collectors. And for good reason. First, the ledgers can only track firearms purchased at licensed businesses. Transfers between individuals, by definition, will be exempt. Accordingly, it is quite conceivable that the police, in attempting to trace a firearm via the ledger, will focus wrongly on the original retail purchaser. Search warrants may be sought on this basis. Individuals may be detained and interrogated, despite the fact that the firearm may have changed hands countless times entirely legitimately. Police time and resources will be wasted and misdirected. The innocent will be ensnared by a useless ledger. This is dangerous in terms of public safety. This is dangerous in terms of civil liberties. Secondly, while the CFO claims that these ledgers are not a registry, Superintendent Wyatt stated that they will be useful in police investigations. On this issue, he cannot have it both ways. Either he believes they are useful and are therefore a registry of sorts, or he believes they are useless and should not be maintained. Finally, this Parliament, the lawmakers of this country, have stated unequivocally in Bill C-19, it is not desirable to keep a record of the purchases of non-restricted firearms by licensed, law-abiding citizens. It is not desirable, and now, following Bill C-19, it is illegal, full stop. Contrary to the position of the CFO, that is not open to interpretation. In effect, Chief Firearms Officers like Superintendent Wyatt undermine the will of our democratically elected Parliament. It is the job of police officers to enforce the law as it is written, not as they wished it was written. A state in which the police make the laws is precisely that, a police state. In our democracy, we cannot stand for law enforcement officials who thumb their noses at the legislature and substitute their views and ideology for the public policy decisions of Parliament. The regulations which have been tabled before the Senate seek to redress this situation and leave no room for further misunderstanding or misapplication by the Chief Firearms Officer. I would ask you, therefore, to recommend that the regulations be passed swiftly and without amendment. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Friedman. Mr. Torino.